Media and influencers also play a critical part in CSR communication. According to Tonello, these actors not only legitimize an organization's relevance, but they also shape the criteria by which the public evaluates corporate performance. With this, it is important to note how CSR communication functions for this group. For the media and influencers, this provides them with narratives that enable them to validate the promises made by the organization vis-a-vis its actual operations. As such, they usually look for both hard data and the human touch in the reports. To triangulate their data, they usually go for data that are validated by third-party organizations or those that are aligned with the global standards. CSR communication, according to Kim and Ferguson, should be rooted on a functional relationship rather than a one-way stream. This means engaging in constant dialogue and interaction to build trust and credibility. When organizations communicate CSR with media and influencers, they enhance their brand image and reputation, and at the same time, they are able to increase their public relevance and boost the general public's evaluation of the company. Lastly, we have the raters, rankers, and data scrapers who compose a small portion of the entire population. CSR communication for them gives them the relevant numbers and statistics that can be used for comparison and benchmarking. With their reliance on AI, surveys, and automated processing, they usually look for accessible data in user-friendly formats and channels. As such, CSR communication of organizations should always have quantifiable data that are understandable and easy to locate. These are mostly composed of data that are aligned with the global reporting standards and indices. According to scholarly work, engagement with this group ensures that the company is properly attributed for its efforts. At the same time, it gives companies competitive advantage over other competitors. The previous slides outline the diverse audiences for CSR communication, their specific expectations, and the strategic benefits of disclosing CSR initiatives to these stakeholders. Now, in this segment, we'll examine the specific categories of audiences according to academic sources. This will also include the suggested strategies to effectively reach and engage each audience segment. Jenny Dawkins, who published an article on CSR and possible communications challenges, identified two types of audiences to CSR communication. Firstly, we have the opinion leaders, who are composed of regulators and legislators, investors, media and influencers, and NGOs and civil society. When it comes to CSR communication, they usually look for the pieces of evidence on the impact of CSR initiatives and CSR fit, detailed indicators, benchmarks, targets, and case studies, and the use of integrated and cross-functional approach and the company's adherence to global standards and identified risks and opportunities. Given their profile, they prefer the data to be posted in the internet, but they would also like to have engagements through offline information channels, including hard copies of annual reports and face-to-face meetings and forum discussions. To get their support, proactive consultation with them is the key. Secondly, we have the general public, which encompasses consumers, local communities, and civil society at large. They usually look for generic information such as the benefits of the product or service to the consumer and the entire society or environment, the proactive stance of the company when it comes to societal or environmental issues, and their visible awareness on ethical behavior. So where do you engage them? Dawkins suggests companies to be visible. This includes CSR communication that utilize traditional media, the internet, and product labels. To get their support, organizations should seek endorsement from credible third-party NGOs or groups and retain its visibility by launching a well-thought-of campaign. Another group of scholars also advances another categorization focusing on the direction of the communication strategy. For one, if the company intends to highlight its impact on market operations, it should seek the support of employees, consumers, suppliers, business partners, investors by emphasizing how they practice ethical and responsible entrepreneurship. Some examples include fair pricing and support for local suppliers. Further, if the company seeks to underscore its innovative initiatives in the workplace, it should target the employees, trade unions, local community, regulators, and legislators by advancing the actions they have taken to improve the working conditions of their employees. These include work-life balance and training and development programs. For efforts that intend to reiterate their commitment to community welfare and development, they should seek the support of employees, NGOs and civil society, legislators, and regulators by crafting contents that focus on volunteer activities, donations, and economic development. Examples include community healthcare and the conduct of sports clinics. Lastly, another category is the environment. This includes effort geared to communicate initiatives that are for the preservation of the nature. As such, there are more groups to be tapped, such as employees, consumers, civil society, business partners, local community, legislators, and regulators. The content should highlight the actions taken for the protection of the environment. Some examples include energy conservation and the circular economy. As you can see here, the employee is present in all of the major categories, suggesting their importance and critical role in ensuring the success of CSR communication. Finally, another categorization is advanced by Hamid and Tonello, which is based on their position from the company. Internal audiences are comprised of the employees, top management, and board of directors. This group is considered to be a credible source of information, and they also have the potential to be influential CSR advocates, depending on the company's CSR communication. To gain their support, literature suggests the use of mechanisms to create a level of external prestige that will boost their identification with the organization. On the other side of the coin, we have here the external audiences, who are composed of the suppliers, consumers, civil society, local community, media and influencers, and regulators and legislators. This group strengthens the firm's legitimacy through the social license to operate and its reputation. Proper implementation of CSR communication can serve as a catalyst in converting them as brand ambassadors who have a high level of influence and credibility. To get their support, the CSR communication of companies should reflect characteristics and values that the society primes. To summarize, this video presented the different audiences of CSR communication along with the requirements and uses of CSR-related information. We've also tackled the different categorization of audiences advanced by academic literature. With this, to facilitate the discussion, here are some points for you to ponder on. For one, which of these audiences do you deem most important or critical in CSR communication and why? Secondly, using academic literature as a guide, what strategies can organizations employ to reconcile CSR reporting to audiences with conflicting needs and expectations? Lastly, which of these audiences do you interact with most in your organization? Share how your CSR communication to this group benefits the whole company. Here are also some of the references I've used which you can use as a guide in answering the discussion points. Thank you for listening and I look forward to hearing your thoughts in our thread. See you there!